A mystic, yogi, visionary, humanitarian, author and poet. Sadhguru is a spiritual master with a difference. Traversing seamlessly from the ancient to the ultramodern. He bridges the gap between the known and unknown, making a clear break from the mere customs and rituals. Sadhguru presents the inner dimension in a scientific manner.
Once we are born as human beings, somehow life got a little complicated. It would have been very simple if we came here like any other creatures on the planet. Stomach full, everything is fine. When we were hungry, we also believed that once we take care of our survival, everything is going to be fine, no? Now once we realize somehow survival process is not good enough, there seems to be a need to do something more. Immediately, a whole industry, which we call as religion and spirituality, sprung up. All kinds of people trying to tell you what you need to do to fulfill your life, or how you can never fulfill your life but you have to go to heaven. This has taken on so many forms, so many, and the diversity is wonderful, but the deception is quite shameful. In the name of religion, in the name of believing this or that, we have broken humanity into so many pieces that we can never fix it. It almost looks like we can't fix it, no? And then came the spiritual leaders. There have been some truly wonderful, absolutely incredible masters of past and present. But at the same time, too many of all kinds of different levels of ignorance and different levels of intention has grown into it. There's all kinds of deception in the world, but the religious and the spiritual kind is the grossest kind, unfortunately. If somebody dear to you died, your neighbor who was always quarreling with you, even he will simply bow down and go on that day at least. Yes or no? A criminal who came to rob your house sees your wife is dead, even he will say, okay. A politician who's quarreling with his opposition all the time, when somebody dies, even he goes. But the spiritual people, they won't miss an opportunity. Somebody is dead who's dear to someone, and that moment they want to use. Even a common criminal wouldn't do that, isn't it so? And he would… somebody is dead in the house, I don't think any, like a house which is in condolence was ever burgled. Usually it doesn't happen, even he avoids it. So, it becomes extremely important to present the spiritual process in its proper light for what it really is. On a certain day, a bull was grazing upon the field. Chomp, 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 chomp. Grazing, 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 went deep into the forest. Weeks of grazing on lush grass became nice and fat. A lion which was past its prime, who was having difficulty hunting the wild creatures, saw this nice fat bull and stalked him, pounced upon him, killed him, he ate him up. Stomach became full. Then with great satisfaction, like our friend, roared. There were a few hunters passing that way. They heard the roar. They tracked him down and shot him dead. The moral of the story is, when you are so full of bull, you should not open your mouth. But they are so full of bull and not for a moment they'll keep their mouth shut. I was… 2 years ago when I was at the Economic Forum, somebody was speaking about something. Actually, they were talking about brick making. This is my problem, I'm interested in everything. There is nothing that doesn't interest me. So, spiritual process is just this, a deeper involvement with life, much deeper than people would ever imagine. Not just living the surface, living the core. This is not some bull that you read in some book. This is not some nonsense that you received from somewhere. This is going to the very core of life. And you cannot go to the core of life unless you are willing to pay attention to the detail of life. Nothing in the existence will yield to you unless you pay attention to it, isn't it? Yes? Women are all nodding, men are not saying anything. Women are all saying… Nothing ever yields to you unless you pay attention to it, isn't it so? And nothing ever cannot yield to you if you pay enough attention to it. The creation and the creator has to yield to you if you pay substantial attention to it. So, if you are willing to pay substantial attention to something, everything will yield. I was just telling them, you've heard of Andrew Carnegie? Have you heard of Carnegie? Carnegie in 20th century became one of the richest men in America in a very short span of time, in a single generation, just himself. So when, as a young man, he got into business and his business started multiplying at a phenomenal pace. He started making money at a pace that America had not witnessed till then. So naturally, the administration got suspicious that he may be doing some criminal activity to make so much money. They put his business through the scanner and they couldn't find anything wrong. Then they set up an inquiry for him a group of congressmen were conducting this inquiry, and then they asked, "We have looked through your business in every possible way and we don't find anything wrong. So how is it that you make so much money? What is this?" So Carnegie said, "See, I can keep my mind focused on something for 5 minutes at a stretch. 5 minutes, I can keep my mind focused on something. Can any one of you do it?" They all said no. And they actually set up some experiments. None of them could keep their mind focused more than a few seconds. Then he said, "You should not be running United States." Nothing yields unless you pay enough attention. And there is nothing in the existence which cannot yield if you pay enough attention to it. So spiritual process is just about paying attention to life, taking this attention deeper and deeper, where not just the creation, the very source of creation becomes a living reality for you. Even the source of creation has to yield. There are beautiful stories in India about how when a yogi or a rishi sits down and starts his penance or his meditation or something, God is just helpless. He doesn't want to yield, but he cannot do anything, he has to come. There are many stories like this. This is just to tell you, if human consciousness is substantially focused, even the source of creation cannot deny it to you. Even that has to yield. So this is a choice we have, either to exist here just as flesh and bone, as a piece of creation, or as the Creator Himself. This is the choice we have. When you exercise this choice, when you do not waste this choice, when you actually exercise this choice, then we say you're on the spiritual path. I cannot understand how anybody cannot be on the spiritual path, because this is everybody's aspiration. Everybody wants to be something more than what he is right now, isn't it so? That something more happens, he wants to be something more. This is a spiritual path conducted in a foolish way. If you conduct it the right way, then it produces results. Otherwise, you will die as an aspiration. Most people die as an aspiration, unfortunately. Very few people die as a realization. An aspiration is good as a starting point, but an aspiration is not a good thing as an ending point, isn't it so? No? Yes? An aspiration is a good thing as a starting point. An aspiration is not a good thing at the closing point. Closing point should be realization. Beginning point is aspiration, that's okay. On a certain day, the pig went up to the cow and said, "I know you give milk, but I give pork. Why is it that you are so much loved and treated well, and I am not?" The cow looked at the pig kindly and said, "I give milk when I'm alive and here. That's a choice you have, whether you want to be a pork or a milk-giving cow. You want to give when you're alive, or people are waiting for you to be dead so that they can get what you have. What should I give? I don't want to talk about or I don't want to tell anybody what they should give. But what's precious to you, that you must give. Something that's not precious to you, if you give, that's not giving. Whatever is precious to you, what you value, that's what you must offer. What is worthless with you, that's what you give, that's not the point. That's not giving, that's just cunning, trying to buy a ticket to heaven. If you go with this kind of mind set into the heaven, we don't know what the hell is there. But one thing is for sure, if it's a good place, it'll mock at you. I always find when you have a filthy mind, if you're among people who are not like you, it looks like everybody's mocking at you, everybody's talking about you, everybody's saying something about you right now. This is the problem, that people will suffer. So if heaven happens to be a good place, I have no intention of going there. So I have never bothered to find out. So if you're trying to buy a ticket to heaven with your goodness, this kind of a tricky mind will suffer most if that happens to be a good place. Or if only your kind have gotten there, you'll suffer even more, because you know how it'll be if there are 10 people like you. For every little bit they have a calculation. If you live among people where for everything there is a calculation, if you are one of them and you know how horrible it is to have 10 like you, yes. So, to give that which is precious to you, what is most precious to a human being? His own life, his own self is what is most precious to him. So one who chooses to give of himself or herself, not what's in his pocket, not what is in his body, not what is in his mind, but himself. Whatever is most precious, if you know how to share that, then we don't know about the people. You are longing for people's attention, you're longing for people's affection and love, because you do not know how to make all these trees fall in love with you. You do not know how to make the grass that you walk upon to caress you tenderly and bless you, the air that you breathe to become one with you, the food that you eat, longing to get into you and become you. All these things are anyway happening. The question is whether you are there to receive it or not. Anyway, it's happening. The food that you eat becomes a part of you, air that you breathe, it keeps your life going. What the tree exhales, you inhale. This is not a new phenomenon. It is always there, it's a life process. It is just that, are you there to receive it willingly, consciously, that every breath becomes an ecstatic process for you, that you don't have to seek attention and affection and stand in a queue for tickets to heaven. It doesn't matter. Even if you fall into a septic tank, don't turn into a pig, which gives only when it's dead. To give when you're well, to give when you're alive, to give when it matters to you. That's what is most important. So should I give? So I want to give, I want to give. Giving is great. No. I want you to understand, there is nothing for you to give. What the hell do you have to give? If you sit here, life is being given to you by charity, free. You just have to learn to receive. What is there to give? One who came with nothing in his hands, what the hell can he give? You can only take something from here and put it here, take something from here and put it there, take something from there and put it here. That's all you can do. Just putting it where it's needed. That's all you can do. Did you come with an investment? Are you a venture capitalist or something? When you ventured into this planet, did you come with your own investment? Came with nothing. So who the hell are you? What can you give? What do you have to give? You can take one thing from one place and put it in another place. Putting it in the right place and receiving the bounty of joy and fulfillment of putting things in the right place. Everything that's life, everything that's beauty, everything that's ecstatic, you can only receive, you cannot give. If you learn to receive gracefully, that's the best giving. People have always made giving into a big deal. And they believe they're giving. The only thing that you can share, that you can call sharing, is yourself. Everything else you picked up from the planet. You pick it up here and if you leave it there, is that giving? That's not giving. That is just sensible living, that's all. The only and only thing, if at all, if you can call as giving, is that you shared the very life within you. This is the opportunity, this is the privilege that we want to offer to everybody, that you have the possibility of sharing who you are. Because that's the only giving, that's the only act that you can reasonably term as giving. Everything else is transportation. No? Just transportation, isn't it? From here to there, there to here, because you didn't bring anything. It's always been here, shifting places. Something that you considered as yours, if you put it in their house also becomes yours. Yes or no? Yes, isn't it? You can have the world. Either you can try to have the world, rather, by conquest. And nobody has managed that till now, fortunately. Not that it's not possible, it's possible. But fortunately, till now it's not been possible. Another way to take the world is by inclusion. Sitting here, you can make it yours. This is a more intelligent way. And for sure, a successful way of doing things.